that's worked out well for you. So I welcome you. Laura Alu and her family are grateful for this decision. Manslaughter is a serious charge. It carries a potential penalty of 5 to 15 years. It's a charge that's appropriate for the circumstances of this case, and we will do everything we can to cooperate with the district attorney's office. They have a fine team of prosecutors. They're experienced, they're capable, and they can handle this matter. As more information becomes more available to us, it will provide us with a better understanding of what happened and what we can do in the future to make public meetings and public gatherings safer, especially in the context of our democracy, where people gather to protest and to express their points of view. Our aim in this case is to seek justice for Laura and her family, is to seek answers for the whole community about what happened so that we can make progress, implement policies that will make all of us safer as a community. With that in mind, Laura would like to read a statement. She won't be answering questions, but Brian Stewart, we're both partners in Parker and McConkey, will answer any questions that you have.
Hi. Hi. I am grateful to stand before you today as criminal charges are being filed against Matt Alder for negligent manslaughter of my husband, Afa Alu. These past 5 months have been long, painful, and deeply frustrating as we waited for answers for Afa's life, after Afa's life was so carelessly taken in June. For 5 months, there had not yet been any accountability for actions or clarity as to how such a horrific incident would be addressed, nor remorse from Matt Alder himself for taking Afa's life from us and from the world. While the wait for justice has been difficult, I understand the need for a careful and thorough investigation in a case as legally complex as this one. I am especially grateful for the diligence and determination of the District Attorney's Office and its investigators, which allowed them to reach a decision that I feel is both moral and just. Today's charges represent a significant first step in the right direction and establish a precedent that I hope will lead to a safer environment at public gatherings in the future. No one else should have to go through what me and my children have experienced. It is my desire to help ensure that tragedies like this are prevented in the future and that public spaces in our community remain safe. I wish so badly that losing my husband, Afa, who was an incredible father, advocate, creative, and champion for others, didn't have to happen unnecessarily to raise awareness of this issue. The grief of losing him has been profound and overwhelming, and I'm resolved to continue striving for meaningful justice and change and look forward to future cooperative efforts. Thanks.
Do any of you have any questions that you want to raise? Yes.
So will you still be pursuing the wrongful death lawsuit?
Yes, we will.
Right now?
Yeah, that's being drafted, and hopefully after Christmas, things slow down in December, but after Christmas, we'll be filing a complaint against Alder.
Have you identified anybody else you might be filing that against?
That's a good question. We're looking at all of the parties because there are serious issues that have been raised. For example, how are these kinds of events vetted? In this particular case, you have a situation where the city received false information. The person who sought the license didn't give his real name. And so there's an issue as to how much information should a city require. What kinds of questions should they ask? Should there be insurance in some situations? Should that be required of groups of large size? So you've got that issue. You've got the issue of coordinating with the police. Did the city coordinate with the police? Did they know what each other was doing? You've got the issue of whether or not it's a wise policy to invite so-called peacekeepers who may or may not have the proper training. And so all of these issues, we hope, as this case moves forward, will be explored and changes should be made so that it's far less likely that we'll have this type of an occurrence in the future.
Are you able to talk more about that part, about the person who applied for the permit? Were they applying for somebody else like their boss, or was it a complete lie, their name that they gave to?
It was a complete fabrication, the name. And finding out who it is, we still don't know, and we're seeking information about that. I might say that our last press conference provoked witnesses who voluntarily came to our office and have helped us understand better what occurred on that occasion. And we'd like to encourage those who are listening and know something, have pictures and information to continue to come forward.
Considering all that's gone wrong with this, do state lawmakers need to take another look at open carry?
Well, clearly, it's dangerous to have a large group of people who are particularly protesting on a political issue to allow people to carry guns. I mean, that's dangerous. And even in the states who have very laws that permit people to carry weapons, they still have laws that prevent them from taking them to a political rally or into a church or onto a campus. And states far more conservative than our own have felt that those kinds of restrictions are appropriate. If those laws had been in effect, it would have been helpful in this situation, as I'm sure you learned from Sim Gill and from his analysis of what occurred in this case. And so I hope my hope is that once the facts get out, that we'll all put our heads together and say, look, how are we going to make things safer? That may mean we need some good legislation. Yeah.
Are you pursuing any action against Gamboa?
No, we're not. It's clear to us that he had the right, the legislature gave him the right to carry the weapon, and he was not doing anything wrong. We've examined the evidence. We didn't see him raise the gun, run into the crowd, as Mr. Alder claimed after the event. And so he is in compliance with the law, and therefore we won't be pursuing him.
So I'm sorry, Jim,
Oh,
I
I-
got here
yeah,
a little
it's
bit
okay.
late, but you stated that you are filing a complaint, a civil complaint against Mr. Alder,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. Anybody else? Any
Oh,
other?
yeah, we were just addressing that, and we are looking at others, obviously. And I talked about some of the issues just a moment ago that we're going to be addressing. For example, is it wise for a group that's putting on a protest to invite people who, as peacekeepers, who may or may not have the experience to help in a situation or in a crisis where someone raises a gun?
So who else could be defendants? in
We've
this
got the
case?
city, you've got the police. Was there proper coordination between the police and the city? What kinds of preparations were made for events that may not have been foreseeable? Did the police and the city have enough information about the event as the event was vetted in the first place? And so these are the kinds of issues that, as the case moves forward and the facts come out, then we can see whether everyone did what ought to have been done to make the event as safe as possible for the public.
So the city and the police will be named as
No,
defendants?
no. I want to make that clear. We don't have any evidence that we would consider strong enough to go down that road. What I'm saying is that we're going to examine the situation and how it was done, what the city did, what the police did, how was the event handled, to see if there are any other parties who may be negligent, who should have done something else, to make the event safer.
You're not ruling them out as to.
That's what I'm saying. We're not ruling anyone out. We're at the beginning. This is why we appreciate Sim Gill getting into this, and we're going to support him as best we can as the facts come out.
When do you plan to file a lawsuit against Alder?
Oh yeah, we're going to within the next few weeks, probably not through Christmas, but after Christmas. But yes, we're in the process of beginning drafts of a complaint. Yes.
Thank you for holding this. I know as a press corps, we're very sorry for.
Oh no, that's okay. We tried to wait and make it easy for you to get here.
Thank you. As far as, what needs to change in your minds policy-wise, have you all had any discussions with lawmakers yet on the state level? Do you plan to have any going forward?
I just think we need to get the facts first, and we don't know enough to begin thinking about how we could shape public policy in a way that would be helpful. And so that, I think we see that coming months down the road.
I think that, it's been nearly 6 months now since this all happened. For you guys kind of in this legal system, how has this process been just for you all going through it?
Well, I've been a prosecutor, I've been defense counsel, and generally speaking, on a case like this, you move more quickly. And because it's pretty clear what happened. And I think the hang-up in this situation, from Sim Gill's point of view, was that the law in Utah makes it more difficult to prosecute. And he explained that to us, and he explained it to you. And I can see how a good prosecutor, and he is, would carefully consider the potential defenses before they filed a complaint. And so we had a long discussion with Mr. Gill and our client, and we're satisfied that he has proceeded in a way that's appropriate and that he's come to the right conclusion as well. We think this is the charge that should be filed, and so we support him in this effort.
Alder hasn't been arrested, and the DA said he is issuing a summons. Do you care to respond to that?
Well, generally, when a prosecutor issues a summons, they have some assurance that they will cooperate prior to the issuance of the summons, so I'm sure that's been done in this case. Any other questions? Brian, anything you'd like to add?
Just by way of explaining why we want to proceed slowly and deliberately in terms of understanding what happened and why Matt Alder might be the only defendant initially. When tragedies like this happen, it's generally a series of failures or mistakes that happen where preventative measures or oversight is not done that allows these kind of tragedies to happen. And in this case, as Jim mentioned, that could be part of like the oversight of the city, the police, and also these groups that were involved in planning the event, organizing the event, and providing security for the event. The groups that were involved, Utah 5150, the armed queers who we believe were recruited to help provide security or peacekeepers in the event. We believe Matt Alder was a part of that group. Are all groups who have intentionally obfuscated the information about the group, obfuscated information about the leadership and members of the group. They use pseudonyms and are not forthcoming at all from even before the event occurred about who they are, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. And so that has made it difficult from our standpoint to understand immediately what took place. And so that's why filing a civil lawsuit against Matt Alder will give us the opportunity to continue to investigate through the discovery process and through the subpoena power that a civil lawsuit allows us. So just by that way of explanation.
I guess just to be clear, are you saying that they obfuscated to prevent charges against Mr. Aldridge?
Well, they obfuscated their names and organization before the event, and so it wouldn't have been because of the tragedy, but it is odd and suspect that these groups don't say who they are and what they're doing at the outset, and that, you know, of course puts even more onus on the city to double check and understand who they're even dealing with when they're setting up a protest that is going to be politically charged and potentially dangerous. That you can just, you know, put Bugs Bunny on your permit for a huge protest that is going to involve firearms, and the city says, well, we're not going to look into it. You know, we're not going to check up on it, and that clearly is a problem. And as we understand these problems, we'll know better who needs to be held accountable, what changes need to occur, and we'll have more information about that as we go.
So armed queers could be a defendant?
Well, our understanding is that Matt Alder was part of that group that brought firearms to the event at the last minute and clearly lacked training and instructions as to how to do their job in a way that would keep the public safe. So yes, that's entirely possible.
And when you say they obfuscate, what have they done to conceal their identities?
Everywhere they communicate online is using multiple pseudonyms and for different parts of their leadership, and so it's very difficult to figure out even who the leadership of these organizations are, and if they were, you know, all on the up and up in terms of what they were doing and how they were doing it. It seems odd to me anyways, before the event and after the event, that we're not able to quickly understand who the leadership is and what their roles were in organizing the event.
If the law permits people to carry guns in the way that they did, though, doesn't the buck stop with the state in terms of our state law and policy rather than with the city?
Well, you know, certainly we believe that the state and the city have responsibilities for enforcing the laws and allowing people to exercise their rights. But this is the exercise of the right to carry arms and to be security or to be a peacekeeper in these kind of politically charged environments is certainly situational and should be looked at carefully and differently, knowing that it's not just a person walking down the street. It's bringing guns to a politically charged situation, knowing that they might be a call for their use, and so it just requires more. All right. Are there any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.